For those who might be visiting, welcome to the March meeting of the Atlanta Radio Club. I'm going to, since Joe and his wife are on a timeline, I'm going to turn it over to our wonderful and stupendous activities chairman, 𝗺𝗏 KI4HHI.
Thanks. Yeah, and I'm going to turn it over to Joe and Mary Catherine because I know they got to go. Thank you for coming. We're going to have a great program tonight, and I will let them give a fast bio and go on into it. So it's all yours.
Okay, Rob.
Thank you.
Well, thanks. And I think I know most all of you except perhaps you, Mike. And it's been fun over the years to work with you guys at the Peachtree Road Race, the Atlanta Science Festival. There's actually some pictures in here. You helped us build a Yagi, which we then took and got really good at fox hunting and done like that. And we've played radio in the parks, Val, and we've gone to Ham Fest and just a lot of fun. And so I'm KI4ASK Joe, and this is
Mary Catherine, KI4HHI.
And we're going to talk tonight in a very non-technical way, but a fun way. What we really get a charge out of doing together with ham radio. So like most of you, we're active in various things and wear multiple hats. Like many of you, I'm a past president of the radio club, and I've been an Aries EC and an AEC.
What year were you president, by the way?
I was president in 2007, and I think again in 2011.
You were right before Jim Farmer? Okay.
No, Huey came after me. I don't remember who came after me.
Okay, we'll talk. I'm trying to maintain a list of past presidents. I'll catch you on that.
Yeah.
You were president of the ARC?
No. Fayette County Amateur Radio Club.
Okay.
I have been a president of a ham radio club, like most of you guys. And
there you go, Jim. Thanks.
When Rob said Jim Farmer, I knew where he was going. I think there was
let's get that correct. And currently serving as assistant section manager. I'm an appointee of our elected section manager, David Benoist, AG4ZR. And my role there really is goodwill ambassador, and Mary Catherine is kind of the assistant section manager. And we enjoy that most about this hobby is the people part of it. And we love speaking to folks about ham radio. So what I want to do now, and I promise not to make this too much death by PowerPoint. I am going to, and I don't see the chat window. There it is. Okay, I will post a link to the presentation. It's already out on the internet. And I'll put it on Facebook and on the email reflector so you can have a copy of it, because I've embedded some multimedia links in there, some of the QSOs we've made in the field, and I'm going to play a couple of them tonight. But without further ado, okay, it says host is disabled screen sharing. So if somebody will click the
John,
settings button and let me know.
I'm trying. Hang on a second. For some reason, it won't let me do it.
Okay.
You on your phone?
Yeah.
small screen.
Let me make you the host. Maybe you can do it from your.
Okay.
Hang on a second.
You can do that. Yep, I'm the host. Okay, great. So
there you go.
There we go. And I literally, I've told people this is kind of an encore presentation. This is, we gave this presentation a week ago, but what you get this week is you get Mary Catherine. As we were recovering from COVID, she wasn't, really up to speaking last week. So it was mostly me, but I've changed the logo there, but in the date, and it's pretty much the, similar presentation.
Yeah, we have someone who heard you last week and he said, well, I've already heard it, but if Mary Catherine's going to be on there this week, then I'm going to.
There you go.
But he's not on here yet.
There you go. So,
Oh, look.
some of the things, it was really an honor last year. And there's that Yagi, Alan Sellers, you know, on the cover. That, you know, that's part of the star there. That's an official Atlanta Radio Club built fox hunting Yagi antenna. That helped us win, and that led to a guest spot with Dr. 𝗵𝗆. And of course, what happened from there is, you know, we turned right around and said, you got to speak to our club now. We were on your podcast, and I think he may have spoken to you guys. And
yeah, we had him.
And, you know, really great. And then Mary Catherine was on another podcast of Women in Ham Radio, and on there with Kat from she's actually in Huntsville, and Rhea, who is actually a ARRL director.
The one from New York.
Yeah, New York. And that was a whole lot of fun. But, you know, we really not only enjoy sharing ham radio, but we enjoy sharing ham radio in the great outdoors. And some of the things that we're going to talk about tonight, on the left-hand side, we're going to cover some basics. And honestly, y'all, most of this is stuff you probably know or have thought about or done yourself. But what's going to be more exciting is Mary Catherine and I are going to tell you about some of the things that we've done, some SOTA, some POTA, an AMSAT, a fox hunt, and kind of share the experience with you. Now, if we were meeting in person, you know, we would be showing you many of these things and doing it live, but instead we'll make the most of Zoom. So before I turn this over to Mary Catherine on the next slide, I want to share with you, go back in time to the year 2004. I had been a ham for 2 years. I got licensed in 2002. I think Mary Catherine got licensed the very next year. And David Benoist, who's the section manager, and I have been friends for years. We went on a backpacking trip to Pine Mountain, and it was fall sweepstakes. And I don't know if you can see in the picture or not, but what do you see that's wrong with the batteries that we carried? Have any of you hooked up a marine battery to a radio?
Not a marine one.
Yeah. That's a deep cycle marine battery, and it will power a 100-watt radio for about 3 days. I mean, it's big and beefy, and you know, it's a trolling motor basically. Now, does anybody want to guess how much that sucker weighs?
Too much to backpack it.
35 pounds.
Yeah, and therein lies the problem. And David, who was on the call last week, joked with me that he still has back pain from 17 years ago. And again, I was a new ham, and you know, there was QRP and there was mobile, but not quite, the technology had not quite caught up. And we had a couple lead acid batteries, so I carried most of the gear. David's 10 years older than me, and that marine battery and one of the lead acid batteries, and he carried the other one. And we had a lot of fun. We made contacts. We saw a waterfall, but okay, there's got to be a better way than a 50-pound marine battery. Now, here's the difference between mobile and portable ham radio. And these are not hard and fast rules. Tonight, we're going to talk about portable ham radio, operating from a temporary location. It's quickly deployed, and you're always trying to balance efficiency and effectiveness. And that's a picture of Mary Catherine. That was a POTA activation at Dowdle's Knob at FDR State Park. So MC is going to tell you a little bit about why we have so much fun with ham radio.
Well, we just like to be outside, and so we just pack up our gear and head out to wherever we want to go that weekend or that day. And when you get out on the trail, there's less people, there's less interference. We have over the years gotten nice equipment, and we've made some equipment, and so we have what we need just to throw it in a backpack and head out. And we like to exercise, so we like to walk, we like to run and hike, and so it kind of meshes together two things that we really enjoy. And then makes us more prepared for emergency communications, and you know, and we get to talk to people that we wouldn't otherwise get to talk to, because we're in a different location and can hear different folks. So
do any of y'all remember, I don't know if you can see the picture in the top right hand corner, do y'all remember where that was at? Because some of you were there.
yeah,
Jim Reed.
Jim Reed was there.
Yeah, I was just going to say that looks like it's out in Piedmont Park.
That's right, Atlanta
Right.
Science Festival. And we had so much fun that day with you guys and the Gwinnett folks and the Stone Mountain folks. And that's a picture MC showing this young family what an HT is and how it works. And I know the Science Festival is back this year. They're kind of doing a virtual thing, but we eat stuff up like that. And, you know, Field Day is one of the most popular portable operating activities on the ham radio, you know, schedule. Everybody knows and loves Field Day. In fact, here's a sneak preview. This is the logo and the shirt for this year. I'm modeling it. Mary Catherine has a shirt too. And we enjoy that, but we like to not just make it one weekend a year. Some things that, you know, I think is important that ham radio can help is, you know, developing kind of awareness of what's around you. And I'm going to talk more about that. And, you know, many of you work and I enjoy talking and seeing you at the Peachtree Road Race each year. And I enjoy being a portable operator. And those of you in the EOC sometimes don't see me, but I'm running. There's my number, wearing a badge and a backpack. They give me a bracelet so that I can, you know, get past security and carry that. And, you know, being the eyes and ears of the net in the Peachtree Road Race. And that's a fun event. The fox hunting. One of the things I enjoy doing, and we've done this before, set up a hammock and become a field listening post. You know, sometimes it's just fun to turn on a radio and listen. And that's portable radio too. A big part of it is not just getting frustrated that your 5 watts isn't getting out, but just hearing all the things that you can. It helps you improve your knowledge about propagation. You really have to make the most of that low power. And we are going to talk, you don't have to be QRP when you're portable, but most often you are. And then finally, a lot of people are really surprised at how quiet, you know, you turn on your radio and you don't have all this RFI coming in. And it's phenomenal. Sometimes you turn it on, you wonder if your radio's working. And it's like, okay, let me crank up the RF gain and make sure that, you know, my antenna's connected. And that's fun because so many shacks have interference. Some of the places you can operate, a park, a trail, a mountain. Here in the Atlanta area, we have several really close SOTA peaks. When we first did our first SOTA, it was at Stone Mountain. And, you know, that's a mile walk up to the top. Now, that's not an RF quiet place. I'll just say that. I mean, it's quite noisy up there, especially if you have a radio that has a pretty wide open front end. Your backyard can be your portable, you know, place. You know, you got to kind of plan your route, check your weather, but be prepared for anything, especially if you go up into the mountains, which is so much fun. It's going to rain. I don't care if there's no chance of rain. It's still going to rain. And of course, your operating gear. A couple other, you know, things, you know, about getting to your location. Just, you know, making sure you have your route planned out. Maps. You know, a print map is a great thing to have. A digital map. We use an app called Gaia GPS. You can download the topo maps ahead of time. So if you're off the cell network, it still works. One thing that's real easy to do, and a lot of people forget, and it seems like every time we're at a park, somebody's like, do you know where this trail goes? I always tell people, hey, take a picture of the sign, the map at the trailhead, always. and save it in your phone, because you know you can rely on that. Oftentimes a park map will give you detail more than a topo map. The topo map is great about elevation and streams, but sometimes the trail data is old and the features are ambiguous. And so, you know, especially going to a state park. Physical fitness, and this goes back to the first slide, just, you know, and Jim, I'm really proud of you, buddy, for getting out there and walking and going to Springer Mountain. I think as hams, that's really important. Not necessarily that everybody be able to run an Ironman, but, you know, maintain the ability to get from point A to point B. And it can just simply be walking, and be realistic, and don't be like me 17 years ago and carry a 50-pound Marine battery because you want the power. And then, you know, have your creature comforts and of course your radio gear. Now this picture up in the top right-hand corner, tell them about that, Mary Catherine.
Was that in Colorado?
Yeah.
That's the highest I've ever been. And Joe did most of the talking on the radio that day. I was just trying not to fall off.
Yeah, that's Quandary Peak. That's just south of Breckenridge, Colorado. And we just happened to be there as guests of another family. I don't know that we would afford a trip on our own. They were gracious enough to let us stay with them. And it was in the summer. And that was actually field day weekend. And so I said, hey, that's a SOTA peak. Let's activate Quandary Peak. And we got up there, and I made a contact. It was over 120 miles away. Now, we were up over 14,000 feet up there. And tell them what creature we saw up there that we've never seen in the wild.
Of the goats?
Yeah. We saw for real live mountain goats that are in the wild there. That was the coolest thing on the way down. And, you know, wow. if we could kind of sat you know, deployed, you know, with a local ham group there, or just sat at home and played radio, we would have never seen the mountain goats. So we have two main radios that we operate, and I'm going to stop the share for a minute and show them to you and go back. And so if you want to kind of expand your screen so that you can kind of see us.
Because he loves his toys.
And you're all like your toys too. And Mary Catherine lets me buy the toys. So
Mary Catherine doesn't know he buys the toys.
But the problem is she does at least know what the radios are. So I can't pull the wool over. It's like, I think you got a new radio. So this is a small pack, and this was our original SOTA POTA configuration. And what was one of the first really, really popular Yaesu QRP radios? Anybody?
FT817?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you you know.
We've done a lot of activations with that.
This was our main radio up until last August when we lucked into one of the first 705s. And so, you know, that little pack, you know, I got this little stand for it, and it kind of a protector here, and I can do AMSAT satellites with it and put it on a lanyard and work VHF and UHF sideband. But we typically take this radio, and notice I haven't sold it. I mean, I still love it. Now, as I've gotten older, I can't quite see the screen as well. And we got this nice little and that's not the Nifty manual. That's the other one. There's another competitive company. Their manual had bigger print.
There's actually a third company for manuals.
Yeah. And so, you know, this was our original QRP rig, and
this is what we used on Dial's knob.
Yeah.
In that picture. Yeah.
Yeah. That one was our fun, but our new toy.
Joe, do you mostly operate sideband or CW?
Yeah. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit in a minute. Mostly sideband and FM simplex for SOTA. And I'll tell you about the CW in a minute, and I can have semi-proficiency there. When I got licensed, upgraded, now I got a funny story about the upgrade. So, yeah. So Mary Catherine will hold up while I'm talking the 705, and that's the backpack. And actually, you can take it out and, you know,
Oh, that's nice.
Isn't
let
that
me-
nice?
yeah, let me turn it on, and I'm gonna play something for you here, and then I'm gonna talk about this. I'll mention the CW. Okay, so you know, one quick way to get a pile up is have your wife's voice on there. So you know, this thing has a voice here.
𝗪𝗂 𝗪𝗂. This is KI4ASK Kilo India 4 Alpha Sierra Kilo calling 𝗪𝗂 and standing by.
Now, do you do custom CQ
Yeah.
recordings?
Yeah, and this thing's got a
And
spectrum
it's got a
scope,
timer.
and it's got a timer, and it has a CW keyer, and it does RTTY, and you know, it's got a nice form factor and puts out 10 watts. We use a LifePo battery.
That's much better than the marine battery, by the way.
Yeah.
Lighter.
Until I saw the connectors, I was like, oh, that's a nice head unit. Where's the rest of it?
Yeah. Yeah. So we got this, pulled a few strings with ICOM and kind of got near the front of the list. We were one of the first actually in the area to get one of these, and it's been great. And
Kind of bragging, isn't he?
yeah, I know. Well, everybody likes their toys, and I'll tell you in a minute how we deploy it. But back to the CW. So I was encouraged when I got licensed to go ahead and knock them all out. You know, technician, general, extra. While you've got interest and momentum. And, you know, and you can hold that up. You know, this is one of the antennas. It's the HFJ 350 vertical. It's, you know, you got little taps, and I'll tell you, oh, it's in the bag in the main compartment. Our preferred antenna.
My favorite antenna.
Yeah.
What's the range on bandwidth on that one?
On this one,
Yeah.
I have contacted, you know, QRP to Oklahoma on it, and you know, it requires a counterpoise and it's fussy to tune. Our go-to antenna.
This is my favorite. It's really lightweight and easy to use.
Yeah, it's an in-fed half wave. They call it a trail friendly, and you know, there's the matching unit, and you know, it rolls out about 60 some odd feet. You can make it slope, you can make it vertical. Honestly, guys, you can lay it on the ground. And I have talked.
I always throw it in the trees.
We try to get it up a little bit off the ground. It's resonant on 10, 20, and 40 with no tuner. I have talked to Quebec and Victoria, British Columbia, 5 watts sideband on 20 meters with that. The vertical, you know, mid-America. And it's a pain to tune. The in-fed, it's on the HT. So that's what's in the toy box. But, you know, back to the CW, when I did the upgrade, you know, first funny story is I did the first 2 tests with my local group here. Because this was still early enough, you had to pass CW, just 5 words per minute, but you still had to pass CW for extra. I was afraid I would fail the test, so I purposely drove out of the area. I went up to Georgia Tech, and at the time, Susan Swiderski was the section manager, and she was also the VE manager. And those of you that knew her husband, her late husband, big CW guy. He was my tester, and you know, very intimidating. But I passed the test. But like many people, I memorized dits and das and promptly forgot about it. 2 years ago, I went through the CW Ops Academy and got back up to 15 words per minute, and subsequently COVID and got busy and haven't kept it up. So I can pick up bits and pieces, but I need to redevelop the proficiency, because you can really go to town with CW on QRP. But we are mostly doing sideband, and you know, seem to be doing well. And a lot of people are quite surprised that, you know, oh, you can't do, you know, sideband QRP given the conditions. Well, you really can. And it just requires, and I'm going to play some of the QSOs for you. So these are our main setups. These are some of the antennas, and Mary Catherine showed you some of them. You know, sometimes I'll just use a loop or a long wire. I do have a tuner for this. if I want it. Of course, if we're doing fox hunting or something else that needs directional, you know, we've got the wonderful tape measure Yagi we made with y'all's help. Of course, you know, a dipole, I do have a bigger one that's 100 watts capable. That in-fed dipole, you know, is 25 watts max. On VHF, UHF, I normally just use a whip. I mean, you can stand on Stone Mountain and key up plenty of things. I do have a roll-up J-pole. That's a lot of fun. That in-fed half wave that I showed you, you know, the toy box vertical, it's kind of a fun antenna to have, but it's kind of a pain. One antenna that I used, and it's one of the QSOs, I won't play it for you. When 6 meters is open, how many of you have worked 6 meters before? Anybody?
A little bit.
Okay. Go to dxmaps.com and sign up to get alerts when 6 meters is open. And they'll email you and you click a button and you can see. And most of the openings are in the summer. Sometimes there's a few in the winter. It's called the magic band for a reason. You'll hear nothing but static. And when it's open, you can talk all the way around the world. So a friend of mine, I don't know, some of you may know Richard Durvan, N1RBD. He hangs his hat mostly with the Stone Mountain folks. He lives in Gwinnett. He's a fellow SOTA guy. In fact, what's funny is I was his first SOTA contact and I was the activator. He talked to me and Mary Catherine on Blood Mountain. He got so interested in it, he got into it. And now he's the master and I'm the student. He's doing CW and he's done a lot more activations. He put on Facebook once, you know, hey, 6 meters is open. I'm standing in downtown Duluth with an 817 and the 6 meter rubber duck. So I was sitting at home on the front porch. I turned on my radio and talked to Canada. 6 meter rubber ducks about this tall. From here to Canada, 5 watts. That's pretty magical. You know, another thing about portable ham radio operation is just developing your awareness of what's around you. And there's lots to listen to besides ham. And, you know, if you're going to talk, know in advance of what's going to work. You're probably not going to do much on 160 meters during the day. I mean, it's just, especially during the summer, it's just not going to happen. And then, you know, at night on 10 meters in the winter, ain't going to be much happening except local. We have a local 10 meter net on Monday nights down here in Fayette County. Now in the summer, we've had DX and I've got a QSO that's in this slide deck that I'll send to you guys that kind of shows that. Here's one of the deployments, and this is one where we talked to Richard Durvan. And so there's Mary Catherine up on top of the summit there. And what we normally do is we start off on VHF simplex. We just go to the calling frequency. How many of you have ever done that? Either gone to Stone Mountain, Kennesaw, or a North Georgia mountain and flipped over to the simplex call frequency? Nobody? Guys, if you do nothing else, next time you go on a hike in the mountains, just turn on the radio, turn it over to simplex. It's like a whole nother world. There are people that live up there that they don't even talk on repeaters. All they do is simplex. And if you toss your call out there, you're doing a SOTA, you only need 3 contacts for it to be an activation. And it's also just fun. You know, hey, where are y'all at again? We're on Blood Mountain. Hey, we're in Greenville, South Carolina. And they're at home, right? And so, wow, you're 90 miles. That's pretty cool. Now, I've talked to some of you on the Atlanta Radio Club repeater from Blood Mountain and other mountains, because sometimes I will get up there and, hey, y'all will come work me. And that's just a whole lot of fun to do. And then we pulled out the 817, and you can kind of see the setup there. I had a bigger bag that day. We carried a few extra supplies. It's just a lot of fun. That was one of our deployments. So Mary
You know, Joe,
Catherine,
I can tell you something from experience from last week. It sounds like a lot of fun to do, but you got to remember to bring the radio.
oh yeah.
I brought cameras, I brought spare shoes and snacks and all those kind of things, and I never stuck the radio in the bag.
One of the things we do, Jim, I keep a hot swappable Baofeng in the car, in the back, ready at a moment's notice. Now I have a little radio box, and I actually have a few more radios and the double Yagi. So if a satellite goes by, I have literally, Mary Catherine and I have been in a shopping center. She's like, I'm going to go in here. Oh, space station's going overhead. I'll be in a minute. And I'll work the space station, you know, from the parking lot. So, you know, throw a Baofeng in the car and you'll be good to go. So MC, tell them about the fun we had right before we got COVID.
So the weekend before we got sick was the weekend that it snowed up in the mountains. So we drove up to Black Rock Mountain, just north of Clayton, and lucked into a cabin up there, and basically watched it snow that night. And then the next morning got up and did some hiking, and of course took the radio and made some contacts, and it was a lot of fun. It was really, really beautiful.
It was beautiful, and had a lot of fun. We did 2-meter simplex. I normally will bring my favorite HT is a D74. We've got a Yaesu FT3, which is a little bit sturdier, and normally beacon APRS, and you know, hop over FM simplex. And then of course this was really this was the first time we took the 705 out in the snow, and it worked great. I forgot to have them at my fingertips for this presentation. Last week I've already gotten back QSL cards from I'm really into QSL cards, and so I've already gotten back QSL cards from that activation. And I think the furthest I made was North Carolina on simplex, but on sideband we got Vermont on 20 meters, which was pretty good. So here's another deployment, and I'd already mentioned it before. We actually brought several radios. We brought the 818. The one that Mary Catherine's talking on there is actually the 897. And, you know, one difference between SOTA and POTA, SOTA is summits on the air. Most often you have to drive and hike. Not always. You're not allowed to like use your car for a SOTA activation, but often a POTA will. We ran 100 watts from this picnic table here and used a buddy pole. AG4ZR has a buddy pole. Have any of you ever used a buddy pole before? It's a bit of a hassle to set up. It you know, it has a big mast, and you have taps on a coil, and you know, once you get it on the band you want, if you want to go to another band, you got to take the thing down and you got to retap it. And so, but we had a lot of fun, and I did use the marine battery here for the 897, but you know, this was picnic table top. Okay, so what I want to do now, had a lot of fun last year at Field Day. Another group I'm involved in is called OXCOM. It's kind of like a federally sanctioned ARRL, and we do some stuff with GEMA. And we had our own field day at Cloudland Canyon, and you got extra points for working AMSAT. And the first pass that I tried to work was just a traffic jam. How many of you have done AMSAT and worked satellites before? Anybody? Yeah, I knew Jim had. Guys, it's a lot of fun. Now, it's more fun when all the satellites are working. I will have to tell you, I've got a separate presentation we do about AMSAT. Most of our FM satellites are offline right now, unfortunately, and I won't go into the problems AMSAT has been having, but last summer was not a problem month. And so let me pull up this QSO, and I want to play it for you because, you know, you might not have ever heard what a satellite thing. And I like to operate AMSAT portable. I don't sit in a shack with a rotator and all that. I use the Armstrong method, holding out the aluminum stick. And I'll tell you, you sometimes get better results because you can kind of finesse it and work the Doppler.
He looks ridiculous.
I do look ridiculous, but I make the contacts,
People
honey.
are always asking me what my husband is doing.
Yes.
What on earth is your husband doing?
All right. So hopefully, and y'all bear with me. So the links go to my Twitter feed where I've saved the QSOs. So I'm going to pull it up and then I got to, you know, play. Okay. This one's actually YouTube. All right. Okay. Let me go back to it. All right.
KI4ASK Georgia. This is KI4ASK 1 Georgia.
Victor Echo 3 is Canada.
KI4ASK 1 Georgia. Hey Daryl, you copy K4RGK? I got you, Joe. KI4ASK 1 Georgia. I'm 2 Georgia. USL, LLC, Cloudland, Union State Park, 7-3. Kilo 4 Mike, 1 Alpha, Alabama. Roger, 73. 7-3.
Okay, so you know that's a little bit different than you know, HF pileups and stuff like that. You can hear the Doppler, and so what's funny? Do any of you know K4RGK? That's Daryl. Daryl is actually the past president of the North Fulton Amateur Radio League, and he's really into AMSAT. So the satellite pass is shown there on the right. It was approaching from the northeast. So you heard the VE3 station from Canada, and the circle that's there was the coverage area. So you can work DX on a satellite, and 5 watts, the aluminum stick, and the time there is the local time. So yes, I stayed up. Nobody sleeps during field day, right? That was 1:47 in the morning because all the daytime passes had too much traffic. But you know, that's one thing to do with portable, and we got some points with that. It's just funny because I literally went hundreds of miles up into the sky just to talk to a guy who's maybe 60 miles away. So, you know, another deployment scenario is just being a listening post. And I did this one day when we had one of the ARC, you know, radio in the park days. I set up the 817. I also set up the little SDR, and I can put the dongle up to a Droid phone and listen. And I'll send you the presentation. These are some of the things that, you know, that I've done. One cool thing, and let me go to the web view. One of the quirks of I may not, was I sharing the screen then? I don't think I was sharing the screen.
Yeah, you were, and then it went off of it.
Okay, so let me go back to the screen share. One of the limitations of Zoom is that Zoom, if you share an app and you go to a different app, it doesn't follow you. And so these sound bites I have are all web-based. So this is the web version of my presentation, and maybe I'll just stay here. But one thing you can do cool, you know, this is one of them. I just took an 𝗏𝗡𝗆, and I was outside. I had a Windows tablet, and I was listening to long wave. Have any of you ever listened to long wave below the AM broadcast band?
I'm getting tired of putting my hand up.
Yeah. All right. So watch and listen to this, and then you tell me, you know, and Val will know this, so Val can't answer it.
We're not getting any audio.
Very low.
Can't hear it. All right, let me try it this way. All right, can you hear audio now? Okay, did you get any of that audio?
Yes, FFC.
Yes. So FFC, you know, it's not really rare DX. FFC is the navigational beacon on long wave for the Peachtree City Airport. It's Falcon Field and it's FFC. Now, what's really cool is, you know, I can sit on the front porch, hook it up to an SDR, and not only listen to it, but you can see the Morse code and the spectrum scope. And that's pretty cool. Here's another cool thing that you can do. Again, back to, you know, part of radio is listening. A slow scan TV decode. You don't even need a ham radio to do this.
He loves this so much.
Yes. This is a scanner. Now notice I'm not even using a Yagi. This is the space station last December. I literally took an ICOM scanner with a rubber duck, set it on a table outside, and put my iPhone next to it. And I always like to show particularly new hams stuff like that, or aspiring hams, because then, wow, you can do that. So I will send you the link to this presentation. You can listen. I did hear Air Force One when Trump came to Atlanta last summer. And I had been tipped off that, you know, hey, here's the frequencies. Again, I got all that stuff off of Twitter. Hey, what do I need to listen to? And you can listen to the soundbite where I heard Air Force One talking on the radio. Another deployment scenario. And again,
you're not supposed to send them a QSL card, right?
Yeah, I should have sent him a QSL card. And hey, we heard the Big Eagle.
I'd love to know how that works out, Joe.
Yeah, I'm not touching that one with a 10-foot pole. You know, fox hunting is another fun thing that we really like doing. And, you know, we've got the you know, ARC approved Yagi, and we've got a loop and a little attenuator, and we got a separate presentation. And in the link I give you, you can click on this and actually see the other presentation. They're all linked together.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to you about that sometime, because we always talk about doing something, you know, like that.
We are working on, and we were going to do one last summer, a Metro Atlanta wide fox hunt and invite all area clubs to it. And we already have several locations picked out inside the perimeter. We're going to make all those folks on the north end of the state come up into the city, because there are some great places to hide a fox within the city. And I sometimes am amused. One of the things that makes Mary Catherine a good team, I'm pretty good about triangulating the signal. I'm a math guy, and, you know, I like, you know, okay, doing all that part. And then what do you normally do, Mary Catherine?
I just look.
Yeah, we get near the end, and she has an uncanny ability to walk right up to the fox. I can't tell you how many times we've like been in a fox hunting, like a competition, and, you know, and it's gotten better over time. And so it's become a lot of fun, but I sometimes kind of snicker, you know, your repeater and our repeater to a lesser extent. I don't know, once or twice a year, some turkey will fire up a Baofeng and play music or act silly. And what do most hams do in reaction to that?
Get off the air.
Yeah. Or, you know, we really should ignore them, but they'll, we're going to have a fox hunt and come find you. Now, it's been my experience that those people have nothing to worry about, because as a rule, I mean, this is one of those fun things that you can read about and it looks easy on paper, but then you go out and you actually have to do it. It's kind of a different animal. It's kind of like building an antenna. Hey, I did all the measurements. This antenna ought to be awesome. You go out in the field and how come it won't tune? You know, practice makes perfect. So we are working on a fox hunt that is Metro Atlanta wide. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, be happy to work with you guys to have a club specific event. I've got several foxes to hide and some great places to do it. So these are some of the, and I won't play these all for the sake of time. These are some QRP contacts that I've made with the 817 and the 705. This is the 6-meter one I told you about. So a lot of times when I think I can work a station, I'll take out my camera phone and video it. So these things, you can watch the video of it and hear the QSO. And on this one, you know, here's the QSL card from it, the W1GD up in Boston. And some of our favorite QSOs we've made, 6 meters to Niagara Falls on the Canada side, 6 meters to Vermont. But you see the time of the year, right? That's June. 6 meters is best in the summer. So to kind of wrap things up, in the at the end of the presentation, we've got several resources for you. Mary Catherine prepared a intro to ham radio video, and there's some slides for it. She had to do it as a class project. I have to brag on her. After marrying me and raising 3 kids, she never finished college. She went back to college and just got her college degree last December. How about that, guys?
Congratulations.
Way to go, Mary Cat.
Yeah, she was older than, you know, some of her professors. And, you know, I think the challenge was in working with some of the students, you know, you could be their parent, but, you know, she had to do a presentation and she's like, let's do it on ham radio. So this is something you can share with folks that might be ham curious. Here's some stuff about SOTA and POTA. Here's some links to some other presentations we've done. Fox hunting, AMSAT. This is a great resource from ARRL. You know, we originally did this presentation for our club. So I got stuff about our club in here, about ARES, and then about Georgia OXCOM, which is another group we're involved. So this is actually online. I'm going to share it now in the chat. But what I'd like to do is just, anybody have any questions, or do you want to share something about, you know, portable stuff you like doing?
I'll just make one comment on the fox hunting side. If you're ever fox hunting along with Alan, turn the way he says to turn.
Okay. I will remember that. And it's the same way, you know, when we get, after I triangulate the signal and we fire up the attenuator and we get close, I pay attention to KI4HHI because she's already found the fox and I'm sitting there fiddling with the attenuator. It's like, put the toy
He's
down.
still walking around with his loop and I'm like, hey, over here.
So that's the mathematician thing where you get to walk half the distance each time and you never get there. And she goes, hey, we're here.
That's right. Zeno's paradox or something like that. Yeah, we had I won't say who they are because some of you might know them. We had a fox hunt down here in Fayette County, and this team that's from Alpharetta is very competitive with fox hunting. They came down here with Doppler equipment, and if you've ever used Doppler, you fire it up and it's just going to tell you where the fox is.
That's cheating.
Yeah, we do it the old-fashioned way. Well, Doppler, it's kind of like FT8. If you're synced to the clock, you're good. If you're not, you're not working any FT8. Now, I had to learn that the hard way myself. I read about it, but my Windows tablet was off by 10 seconds. And why isn't anybody hearing me? And let me check the time. And well, same thing with the Doppler. It's got to be tuned up. So they came down here, look, you know, kind of like the devil went down to Georgia looking for a fox to steal. They came down here with all the fancy equipment, and they were busy messing with it. And we walked right up to the fox and found it right under their eyes. And
me and Jonathan walked.
Yeah, I triangulated. Mary Catherine and this young ham that was with us actually found it. And, you know, it was kind of like, you know, common sense over technology. But does anybody have any other questions or comments? And I just shared the link in the chat, and I'll put it on the email group and Reflector.
I've been looking into that 705. I've been reading reviews saying that there's some frequency drift when you're doing digital. Have you guys had any problems with that?
I have not, Alan. And in fairness, I have used it for FT8.
Mm-hmm.
I have used it for JS8 call. I've used it for WinLink. I've not used it for PSK. I've used the built-in RTTY, but I've not used a computer RTTY. It actually will decode and send RTTY with no computer, which is pretty cool. And I've not seen that, but I've got to confess, even though I'm kind of into technology, I like JS8 call.
Yeah.
FT8 is like watching paint peel. I mean, it's just, okay, is the 15 seconds up? Okay, transmit. Okay, did he hear me? And, so in fairness to the drift, my attention span's about 20 minutes on FT8. And then I want to just flip over to sideband and see who can hear me.
Sure, that's good to know. Then I've been waiting to hear someone with actual experience with it, so that's good.
We are talking about, I don't know about you guys, if you're going to resume. Yeah. I don't know if you're going to resume the Sunday in the park thing. We actually, and this is what's fun and I think great about the relationship we have, we get ideas from you, you get ideas from us. We are in the planning stages of doing something similar starting in April. And I'll let you guys know about it, and I'll pull the 705 out. We took it to Winterfield Day. We called it an unofficial club event, liability, still COVID. So non-club sanctioned, even though most of our club officers were there, and we went. And what I did is I let people play with the 705, and two guys made a contact, their very first QRP contact. One of them sat and worked it, and it was a lot of fun. The other one, he was a little soft-spoken, and you really have to, hold the mic at a slant and talk into it. And he's a real big guy, but he's got a soft voice, and he just wasn't making it. And I said, hey, we're going to do like fishing. I'm going to hook it, but you're going to reel it in. I said, give me the mic back. And I tossed his call out, and they, KN4APA, QRP, QRP station again. Here you go, boys. Reel them in. And he was like, oh, that's the coolest thing. So, it's always fun. Again, back to the being outdoors and sharing. We really enjoy that. And we'll pull the 705 out. So if you guys have an event, let me know. But we're looking at April and a similar concept, a kind of a Sunday in the park for a couple hours sort of thing down here.
That'll be nice. Have you, do you go to the, I know you don't go, the QRP meetings are pretty cool, North Georgia QRP.
We haven't yet. We've actually, Vaden McDonald Mac was my mentor for CW. He's very active.
He's the guy.
Yeah. And it's a time thing, right? It's like, I love it all and I want to do it all. And so I keep up with it. I've done one of the peanut power sprint things, but I haven't gone to the meetings and been super active in it. And part of that is a lot of this past year, I've been helping get this OXCOM program off the ground. I'm the public information officer for it. So it's like, okay, I've got to go to the Hamfest and represent the section. I've got this OXCOM thing going. And what we really like doing is actually going out in the field with people and doing it. So, but it's a great group.
It is. I know Jordan was a member, and Jordan made one of the first presentations on, JS8 call, to
it's
that
a
group.
Phenomenal, and in some ways, I think his software, this is a personal opinion now, and he's not paying me to say it. He clearly put some thought into the user interface, because let's face it, some ham software is just awful. We put up with it. I mean, I know this is blasphemy, but I can't stand WinLink's interface. I mean, I'm just, beat me with a stick, and and that's big in the MCOM world, and I do use it, and but there's a Pat WinLink for the Raspberry Pi, and I've been playing around with that. It's not as feature rich, and honestly, it's one of the reasons I went with a Windows tablet is there's just still some Windows software. Honestly, I'm talking to you guys on a Mac. I'm kind of a Mac guy. I'll use whatever, but Windows is kind of at the bottom of the list.
His wife uses Windows.
Yeah, but she's better at it than I am.
I'm slumming it.
Yeah.
I'm on Windows but I'm on here anyway, trying to get Windows working.
Oh, okay.
I'm actually in the shop and I'm like paralyzed.
Guys, no matter what I do to turn off all the notices and upgrades, it never fails that
there's always one.
I go out into the field and pull out that tablet and it tries to do an update and then it's hung. And it's like, come on, I thought I turned that off. You know, just one nuisance of many. But I honestly, you know, I was going down the Raspberry Pi route, and I got a chance. I don't know if any of you know KM4ASK. He's got a YouTube channel, really big on Raspberry Pi. Got to meet him at Dalton, and he actually put a link to our presentation in his last newsletter. They're getting ready to upgrade Pat WinLink so it's more full featured. So you really might not have to use Windows for WinLink. Pat WinLink works, but it only does the email, doesn't do the messaging and stuff. Well, we're going to have to peel off pretty soon. Anybody, any other questions, comments?
Anybody?
Hey, we really appreciate the opportunity to speak to you guys. We're rooting for you. Over the years, clubs swell up with members, and then you struggle with members and organizations and repeaters. I mean, Fayette County Club is no different. We've got a repeater offline right now, and there's some politics involved. There's always stuff, you know. You know, you guys are neighbors. We love what you're doing. If there's anything we can do to help, you know, we'll keep you in the loop about some of the things that we're planning. And if come summer you want to do your own fox hunt and you want some extra help so that you guys can play and have somebody else be the fox, happy to do it.
Yeah, thanks for being on there with David, you know, in August when at our first Zoom, I guess was.
So here's an opinion, John and Rob, about Hamfest. This is not ARRL position. This is not David's position. This is Joe Domaleski, who likes going to Hamfest. You know, I think clearly Dalton showed me that there's some pent up demand. The surprise I'm going to share with you guys is that Mary Catherine and I have asked to be speakers at Huntsville. Just found that out. It will not be this same presentation, but it will be a variation of it.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It'll be Saturday morning. Hopefully, they literally just got the permission of the Von Braun Center to have the Hamfest, and they're going to have the whole concert hall, exhibit hall. They normally have 3/4 of it to spread out the tables. They're in the process of booking the vendors. The big concern, they're not worried about attendees because there's this pent up demand. You know, vendors, some of them have made bank on radio sales. COVID has caused people to buy more radios. But what else has happened to supply lines? Now, maybe some of you haven't tried to buy a radio. Y'all hear about the fire in Japan? The component fire?
No.
Yeah, there was a component fire that apparently supplies components for all three, Kenwood, ICOM, and Yaesu, and it's holding up the release of ICOM 52. Their new, they got the 705 out the door. Yaesu is having some supply line issues. Kenwood was a no-show at the virtual, you know, Hamcation. And so there's some legitimate concern. And I don't know, last time you've been to HRO, Mark's starting to see some supply line problems. Hey, I've sold out of 7300s, for example, and I don't know when I'm getting new ones. So they've got to have an eye on that because it's really those big vendors that pay the big bucks for the biggest booths. So if I'm where you guys are at, I think this is personal opinion, another year to kind of regroup and maybe, you know, look at 2022. That's just an opinion for what it's worth.
Yeah, hopefully Elecraft won't raise their prices and seeing that they're the other vendors are in trouble.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. So anyway, hey, listen, y'all, I appreciate it. Thanks. Y'all have a great week. And if there's anything we can do, my contact, many of you, I'm already friends on Facebook, you know, hit me up. Hey, you know, I had a question about 705 and I get a chance to ask, be happy to help you. It's so much fun. And if you've never made a QRP contact, sideband, when we meet next in person, we're gonna hook the fish and you're gonna reel it in.
Great, yeah, we got some things to talk about because I know satellite people talk about trying to, you know, try satellites and all that, and it sounds like we
love satellite.
Yeah, I'm a space nerd. I second only to Jim Reed. I mean, Jim
is a space nerd. Yeah, from the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I'm a space nerd, but he's a space nerd times 10. So, you know, we'll be watching For All Mankind tomorrow night, and that's a fun show. And anyway, y'all, we're gonna peel off. Thanks. Have a good rest of your meeting, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye, guys.
Thanks,
Good night.
Joe.
Thanks. Be well.
Oh, I need to make you back the presenter.
Yeah, give
Who
me back
wants
control.
John or Rob?
John.
All right, so John. Yeah, I got ready to click the button. I would shut it down. Okay, it says assign and leave, and I got a check mark by you. So hopefully I'm doing this right. All right, here we go.
Yeah, it says I'm host now.
There you go. Thanks.
I got it.
Thank you.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, Joe. Not a whole lot to go over tonight. But one of the big things was the repeaters, and Stephen gave us a little update to begin with that. Hopefully we'll get things straightened out pretty quickly with that. We're working on it. It's become almost a daily thing. I know Rob knows that. Some of the other folks are involved, so hopefully we'll get that squared away quickly. Keep an eye out for a newsletter this month to kind of give you an update on some things that are coming up. We're going to try to do some sort of maybe an outdoor in the park thing for the QSO party in April. Hamfest right now is a big question mark. I can tell you right now that Jim Miller's at this moment not available for us in June. So we're kind of, our backs may be against the wall for this year again. So we'll trying to get this thing squared away one way or the other over the next week here, because we're kind of running out of time to really make any changes or put anything else together at this point. So unfortunately, Jim Miller won't be able to give me any updates until late May, and that's kind of right on top of when we hit Hamfest. So yeah, keep an eye out on your email for newsletters. We'll continue to update things as we put some things together. Invite hams that you know that may be new. Invite them to attend the ARC, and we've got we've got a lot of pent up demand of our own to get out and do some one-on-ones. So we are looking for folks that I think in some of our repeater discussions recently, we've realized that we would probably like to have a few more people involved in some of the various committees in the radio club, particularly the repeater group. So if you have some sort of talent or interest that you know that might be beneficial in some some form or fashion to the club, whether it's repeaters or Hamfest, fox hunts, activities, that kind of stuff, let us know so that we can know who to turn to when we have a question that we can't answer, or some sort of task that we can't perform ourselves, so that we'd like to get more people involved in the club. And COVID right now is obviously making it tough to grow membership, although there are a lot of new hams that you're probably aware of that are popping on the scene because of fears of the apocalypse. So we need to kind of try to take advantage of those folks, especially the ones that live inside the perimeter. So if you run into people, introduce them to the ARC and invite them to join us to nothing else for a Zoom meeting right now until we can get to some more in-person stuff. But and then as things open up this summer, with the 𝗵𝗁 road race and other things, hopefully we'll have opportunities to get out and operate radio. So I don't, was Aid even here?
Didn't see him.
I didn't think I saw him. Okay. So we're still lingering in membership a little bit. It's been a rough year and a half. So if you haven't had a chance to pay your dues and you haven't, we could always use a few extra dollars. So please go to the website and find the contact information and renew your dues, and we'll be greatly appreciative of it. So, and like I said, if you have an interest in doing something in particular at the club, please reach out to one of us on the board. I think all our contact information is on the webpage. We're doing some work on that also. Reach out to us and say, hey, I'd like to do whatever, or even if you're not sure what you want to do, if you're interested in helping with something, reach out to us and we'll find a spot for you somewhere. Lots to do, and always looking for help. So you got anything, Rob?
I don't. Well,
how about you, Val? All right.
Yeah, Val's muted.
Yeah.
Hey, John,
Sorry about that. I couldn't get to the button there. No, I don't have anything to add.
Okay, all right. Well, we've got, I know we've got money in the bank, so we just, we've been updating some of our, we've been paying some of our yearly bills, the phone bill. We changed phone providers for the tower, so we've got a new phone provider, I believe, or internet provider for the tower. So we're doing things like that right now also. So it's moving along. We just need to get past all this COVID stuff and try to update you on the Hamfest over the next couple of days and let you know what's going on with that. If we're not able to have one this year, then we'll immediately start planning for next year and hope we'll have some good, maybe the Stone Mountain Hamfest. I'm sure they'll be able to get theirs underway unless something just goes haywire. And but I don't anticipate that. I think Huntsville and Stone Mountain and some of those late year Hamfests should get off the ground. So,
hey, John.
Yeah.
I had a walk with Mike Smith from Stone Mountain Club last week, and he says, yeah, they are on track, and they still have the fairgrounds. Somebody was trying to get in under them, but they were able to keep it.
Oh, wow.
He also had a suggestion for an event in like late April, early May. I shot you a note on it if you get the chance and can let me know if the club's interested.
Okay, I'll look for it.
It's an email.
Okay. Yeah, I anticipate that they're going to get theirs off in Huntsville also. I can't imagine that we're going to, even with some of the new strains, I can't imagine that we're going to be in that bad a shape come the fall like that they can't get theirs off the ground. Most of the Hamfest, or at least the big Hamfest up to about first part of June, all of them have pretty much either canceled or gone to some sort of digital or online type event. So, and Jim Miller is both a vaccination station and a testing station, one side for one and one side for the other. So it's, and last time I talked to her the other day, she said it'd probably be late May before they even sit down and talk about the rest of the year. So it's not looking good for out there.
Why don't the Civic Centers open?
Yeah, I meant to check this week. I've been busy this week, but I'll check in the morning, or actually I could probably check. The problem with looking at it online right now is it may look like it's open, but it's not. So I'll give them a shout in the morning. Because I think there's enough pent-up demand, like Joe said. I've heard that term several times in the last week or so. So I really think I think we could pull something off, even switching venues, because there's enough of the vendors out there, and like I said, there's enough people that are willing. I'm a little nervous, but it appears to be Dalton went off pretty well, and I think that might be a good sign. So even with the Civic Center, we could probably spread things out enough to keep everybody separated. I mean, I was really looking forward to Jim Miller because it's big enough that we could have done that. So over the next couple of days, we'll update you on that. So anything else, guys? Do we have a program yet for next month?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Yeah. For those of you listening, if you have any ideas, if you'd like to see something, please contact Rob and let him know, and we'll continue to try to put some. This was a great one tonight. I'm still kind of interested in a strictly battery presentation. So
we're working on that. Yeah, trying to get a battery.
Yeah, I was interested to see what Joe had. Some of the stuff he had in there was battery related, so that was pretty neat to see. So especially for portable.
We had a battery guy years ago who was he worked for a battery company. It was a great presentation. I don't know if you remember on batteries, and I tried to get him, and he's retired from doing it.
Yeah.
But another club had a battery guy, and I'm trying to find who that was, so maybe we can get.
Okay. Yeah, I think that'd be a good one to have in conjunction with what we just saw from Joe. So
yeah, one thing I learned, I sent my I had to send my Mac back to back to Apple, and they sent me a big sticker to stick on the box that said it was a dangerous materials because of the batteries.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't go to any FedEx to drop because it's considered, just anything with a live battery in there falls in some category.
Okay.
We'll hear more about that from the battery guy, I'm sure.
Well, that's great. That'll be good. That'll be good. Okay. Anything else? If nothing else, just stay tuned. Keep an eye on the emails, and there'll be a lot of information over the next 30 days on different things going on. So as we
watch the website, and if you see any errors or omissions, or which there are, or typos, yeah, please let me know or let someone know about that too, because we can use all the eyes on it that we get.
All right, if nothing else, I guess we could sign off for the night. And like I said, stay tuned. And if we don't see you between now and next month, we'll see you the first of the next month for our April meeting.
You get to leave the bathroom there.
Yeah, I know. Well, my wife's watching television, so I had to come in here.
Have a great trip.
All right. Yeah,
fun.
yeah. We'll be back tomorrow. We just had some business to take care of up here, so we'll be back tomorrow. We decided to come up tonight, so we didn't have to get up early in the morning and drive up. So
Have a good night.
all right, guys. Signing off. We'll see you at the next event or next month.